Hey everyone, and welcome to my weekly check-in blog, where I take you along for the weekend to see what I'm reading and how I'm doing. My name is Ricki, and this year I'm trying to get myself out of survival mode. And it's the last weekend of November, and it's good. November put me off track of all my good habits and all the things that went well. Partly due to stress at work and partly due to November. It's dark, it's cold, it's no motivation anywhere. So I've noticed that I've skipped a lot of exercises and I rested a lot, but I'm not rested. So doing less is not giving me more energy either. It's very disappointing and frustrating. So I'm hoping in December I can get back to my regular exercise regime and movement things and also get myself to do the things I want. November put something new out there that I don't really experience a lot, that I know what I want to do, but I can't make myself do it, even if I have time and energy. Normally I lack time or energy. But this month I already only focused on a lot of easy things that I wanted to do and series I wanted to finish and watch, and it would have been possible, but I didn't do it. A lot of the things I wanted to do, but I didn't do them. And I don't really know why. So that's strange. I'm feeling out of sync with my body, mind, and soul. It's, like I said, I know what I want, but it doesn't seem to be the thing that I need. And I'm not always sure what I need right now. So November has been confusing. Anyways, I'm off to go on my run. I'm still listening to a love song for Ricki Wilde. I have about 3 hours left. I hope I can finish this weekend. This story follows Ricki Wilde and Ezra Walker, who meet. And there is something wrong with them meeting, or rather there's a lot of connection between the meeting. But Ezra is like, we can't be together, even though that's all they want. And the story is dual told, so it's alternating between Ricki's perspective and Ezra's perspective, or Ezra talking. We get a lot more from Ricki's side than from Ezra. And we also have a time difference there. We start with Ricki in 2023, and we're currently mostly in 2024 in Harlem, where she opened her flower shop and is trying to make a living and distance herself from her rich family that is running funeral homes where she doesn't identify. And Ezra is a musician, but Ezra's timeline starts back in 1923, I think, in the 1920s, and it starts off back in the South, where his family was torched by the Klan, and so he runs away with the cousin to New York, and also in Harlem starts his career as a musician. And things happen where I'm not sure what's a spoiler or what not. I'm not completely sure how the time slip is going in their romance, but they have been on their first date, and oh boy, that was kind of exhilarating is the wrong word. I don't know the right word. If I can think of it, I can put it up here somewhere. But it really was amazing. And the narration, the way the narrator in the audiobook encompassed or embodied all the emotions that went on there, really well done. So I'm enjoying the audiobook. I'm enjoying the story. The little hiccup we had last week where I was anxious listening to it, totally overcame that. Like I said, it was for no reason at all. So I'm hoping to finish the 3 hours this weekend. I'm going to go for a very slow run now for probably an hour, as it's cold and I'm still exhausted and tired. Who knew? I'm exhausted and tired. This weekend, my main plan is actually to finish the last book in the Discworld series. I started and I'm 2 chapters in. So that's the main plan for the weekend. Not much else. Let's see how I'm doing. I have no more energy left. My batteries are running low on my phone and on the camera as well. So let's wrap up what happened this weekend. I finished listening to a love song for Ricki Wilde. It was really fun. I'm not going to tell you more about the story because I consider it spoilers, and I still haven't read the synopsis if this is actually mentioned in the synopsis. But I really enjoyed the love story between Ricki Wilde and Breeze Walker, or Ezra Walker, and I really enjoyed the story, how it was narrated, skipping or alternating between those two narrators and also between the present and the past, how it intertwined the history in the book without making it central, but it kept coming up. History of music, history of Black people, history of women, and also the struggles. I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed how we followed Ricki in finding herself, finding her own voice, and finding or making her own place in the world, and how that happened. Really, really enjoyed that. I also did like the ending. For a short while, I thought there was going to be a not happy ending, but you know me, I like my books to have happy endings in some way. So I got that, and I wasn't sad afterwards. So that was good. I finished the book out on a walk because I was getting sad before that, and I had meant to do some more reading afterwards, or a lot more reading today, let's be honest. At 3 p.m. now, my brain is not focusing on words anymore. I made it a little bit over halfway through The Shepherd's Crown, and I am enjoying it, even though it's also a little bit sad and nostalgic. It's the last book Terry Pratchett wrote, so there are closing feelings and all these thoughts included in the book, as well as what happens in the story. It's another Tiffany Aching book, and we see Tiffany facing a lot of changes in her world, in her own life, and also in the surroundings. There's a lot happening, a lot has been changing on the Discworld in recent novels all over, and a lot has been changing in Tiffany's life as well, and also for the witches. And this is what's happening right now. She's basically facing her first evil enemy, the elves again. The first book where Tiffany appears, she meets the Queen of Elves and invades fairyland. But that's another story. This time, the elves have found a way back into the Discworld, and it's not a good sign. I'm just at the point where the elves are starting to make trouble, and where Tiffany is realizing that something is happening. It's all explained, it's all very grand, and I'm enjoying it. What I can say is that this is not a good starter book, of course. It's the last in the series. I am glad to finally have finished the reread. Well, in 100 pages, I will have finished the reread of the whole series. I started rereading the series before I started making videos, which is now 15 years ago. And oh boy, it's been a long time. I am really glad I reread all the books, but I also noticed, thinking back on the reread, that there is a shift between my school reading and my university reading and my working reading, because as I started reading the Discworld early on when it was published, I read the books that came out when I was in school multiple times. But the later ones, especially ones that were published when I was at university and afterwards, I didn't really have time to reread them as much. And it shows. I have different feelings on the rereads to the books than I had the first time I read them, because I think the first time I just gobbled them down and flew through, but now I'm a little more aged and older and have different interests and read differently and whatever you want to say, but rereading a book always makes you see different things, and rereading the whole series in, granted, 15 years instead of faster, has me look at the series a little bit differently. Not badly. I really still enjoy it. And I must say, I probably enjoy the first books more than the last books. From the writing style, they have more old-fashioned fantasy writing style. Admitted, that's why a lot of people find it difficult to get into the books, because they're not in today's fantasy writing style. The later books, yes, but the first few ones have very classic fantasy of the 70s and 80s. And I enjoyed that. I am looking forward to reading more of the books again, but I am probably always leaning more to the earlier books than the later books. Strange things. Anyways, I have a full review up of the book when it first came out because I was already making videos back then, so you can, I'm going to leave the link down below. Then what else did I do? I found a show that felt like comfort, and so I'm going to do that for the rest of the day. My brain is fried, and I'm rewatching Eternal Love, which is one of the first C-dramas I watched. And I have to admit, I'm not watching all of the episodes. I'm watching my favorites, and I'm only watching the storyline of the two main characters, and yeah, kind of skipping over the sidelines or side stories. That's what I like about rewatching shows, that you know what happens, and the first time you have to go through all the drama, but when you watch it again, you can decide the drama you want to watch and skip over boring parts or things that trigger you. So that's nice. And that's been my weekend now. I have noticed that doing activities is better for me than not doing activities. Last night I managed to do a little bit of exercise, not a lot, but I managed to get myself off the couch for some evening exercise again, among others, some push-ups and sit-ups and some physiotherapy exercises, which have helped. The shoulder is getting better with all the physio exercises that I'm doing, especially the ones that I'm doing in the morning in bed. So that is looking good. So for December, I might look at doing more exercises. And it's a toxic trait I have. I still believe I can exercise myself out of this mess instead of resting myself out of it, because every time I try to rest, it's just going downhill. So in December, I'm trying to skip less morning exercise and do more evening exercise again and see how that is going to work out. I have 3 more weeks to work, and I'm looking forward to not working for 2 weeks. Actually, I would love to not work for the whole December, but it's not a world I live in. Now, let me know how your weekend was. I think it was Thanksgiving in the US. Did you have a good time with your family or with friends? Or did you have good food alone by yourself? That's also good. Let me know in comments how you're doing and what you're reading and how things are going. Thank you for watching.